posterity. If you choose not to be recorded, we will post this into the YouTube over the next couple of days. But this makes it easier when we go to do our notes. So starting the morning, just typical, we'll go through roll call. We'll walk through the due outs, our different partners, and let everybody give any information they have. This month, our primary focus is going to be on the D4H and EM resource, just a refresher on those, as well as any other questions or anything that comes out. So for hospitals, Anderson, Eric, are you on?
I'm here, Lee, and I'm also representing community hospital staff.
Roger, got it. Perfect. And Aaron, I know you're on. I talked to you a moment ago.
Yep.
How about Nancy from Boyd? All right. Anybody from Carlinville?
Tyler's here from Carlinville.
Hey, good morning. And Fayette, Tina, are you on?
Tina had to step off. She's got IDPH in the building.
Uh-oh. Okay, perfect. Anyone from Gateway? No, Rick? Okay. Holy Family. Brad, I know you're here. We've spoken already. Anybody from Breeze?
Yeah, but I'm also representing Holy Family, St. Joseph's Highland.
Highland as well. Okay. And anybody?
I'm here, Stacy from Breeze.
Okay, Stacy, there you are. Gotcha. How about anyone from Jersey? From Memorial Hospital Belleville, you've got myself and Sean Eisenhower, as well as Scott Klosterman. I don't know if Mike Gilbert will be jumping on. He's currently at the warehouse for a PPE drop. So Memorial Chester, Georgia?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
And we did sustain some damage last night. We lost, or the other night, we lost a transformer.
You guys are back up to normal now?
Partially we're running on a generator, so we're normal.
Okay.
But
Well,
we're getting it fixed.
If there's anything you need, just let us know.
Thanks.
St. Anthony's.
This is Tracy.
Good morning, Tracy. Anyone from Redbud?
Tara's here.
And how about Sparta?
Yeah, Dan and Dale here, Lee.
Excellent. Touche. All right, and then on to our health departments. Bond County.
Wendy's here.
Perfect, thank you. Calhoun? Anyone from Clinton? No, Derek? Okay. East Side. Fayette? Greene County. How about Jersey?
Jersey's here. This is Heidi.
Hey, Heidi. Anyone from Macoupin?
Jared here, Lee.
Excellent. Madison County? Monroe County?
Vicki here.
Thank you. Randolph County? And St. Clair County?
Good morning, St. Clair is here.
Good morning, Kara. And do we have anyone from IDPH for the REMSC? How about you, Beth? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. And as far as BJC goes, anyone from our St. Louis on?
Hey, good morning, Lee. It's Jason.
Good morning, Jason. Emergency Management Agency. How about Sam? Are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Are there any other EMAs present on the call this morning? And I saw John's beautiful face there on the camera a minute ago. John, are you there?
Good morning. Yes, sir. I'm here.
All righty. And anyone from Abbott? Helen, are you there for SLU?
Hi, Lee. I'm here. Thank you.
Good morning. Anyone from the base? No Tim, no Med Group? Okay. And do we have a representative from STARS on this morning?
Hi, Lee. Yeah, you've got a few actually. This is Sam. I'm on. Brian's on as well. And we also have 2 new team members that have joined. They're also on the call. Saroja, who will be an emergency preparedness coordinator with us, and then Rachel is also on, and she is going to be our St. Louis healthcare readiness and response coordinator.
Excellent, excellent. And then from the St. Louis Healthcare Coalition, do we have a representative for the coalition? Okay, so Jason and the STARS crew, you guys will be the representatives for the Missouri Side Coalition. As far as due outs go, I am unaware of any. So if there's anything that we were supposed to have had prepared for today, please do let me know and I will follow up with you as quick as I can. But I did not see anything from last month that was outstanding. I may have missed something, but I don't think I did. So IDPH, Beth, do you have anything for us? Anything maybe from the Eclipse perspective?
Yes, of course I do. So yeah, I'll start with the eclipse. It will be here shortly. I will be located at the Area Command Center down in at John A. Logan in Carterville. So if anyone has any questions or needs, I think everyone has my number, my email. Don't hesitate to contact me. So for the RMSC, Linda Angarola will be covering. She will be right next to me. So between of us, hopefully we can take care of anything. I wanted to remind everyone, I got a pre-notice. I'm not sure if they sent the siren out, but we are asking for bed counts for the hospitals in 3 regions, including the Edwardsville region. So I don't remember the times, but we're asking for twice a day bed counts.
Yeah, I've got a slide on that.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
No worries.
Syndromic surveillance has been set up thanks to our wonderful, very smart IT public health people. And that's set up for, I believe, all the hospitals in totality, plus maybe outside of totality for 30 miles. So we'll be watching that very closely. There has been a lot of messages that have gone out. I know IDP is going to send another one out in the next few days, a kind of a last reminder. I am also connected to the National Weather Service. If you look on the St. Louis site, they are publishing daily updates of predictions for the days leading up to the eclipse and April 8th itself. I'm also connected to the Paducah National Weather Service, and they're doing the same thing if anyone's interested. I think that's all I have for the eclipse. The other big thing that we have going on is measles in Chicago. I'm knocking on wood here. I believe as of today, there are 53 cases. 3 new cases this year, so it is slowing down, or this week, it is slowing down a little bit. Yeah, 56 cases, 3 new cases this week. 59% are 0 to 4 years old, and the next highest is 18 to 49 years is 27%. And for your medical providers, keep a lookout if you have any suspect cases. Get them in isolation and give us a call. The grant is out. It's due to CDC on April 24th. IDPH is working on that. I just yesterday got the draft CRI grant from Carla for us to comment on. And so hopefully that'll be going out pretty soon as well. I believe that's all I had, unless someone has some questions.
All right, excellent, Beth. Anyone have questions for Beth before we push on? All right, public health departments, you just went over that part. Anyone from STARS? Sam, do you want to kind of elaborate on where things stand?
Oh, absolutely. So STARS, fun statistic here. We have more than one exercise a month now. We've got 5 between end of April and mid-July. So we have several exercises going on. I'll do a quick rundown of what all those are, and then I'm happy to answer any questions on any specifics. The first one we have coming up is on April 23rd. We have a regional catastrophic preparedness grant, which would be our medical supply chain distribution framework. We have a tabletop. So I know we've talked about that a couple of times, or you may have heard some of our work with the regional catastrophic preparedness grant stuff. So that tabletop is going to be April 23rd. I believe that's at the St. Louis County EOC. So if you're interested in more information on that, please let me know. That's going to be the first exercise of a few. We're also going to be working on building some additional exercises with them based on the annexes. So this initial one will be around that initial framework. So that'll be the focus, but we'll have more coming from there. So if you would like more information or would like to register for that exercise, please let me know. Likewise with the rest of these exercises that I'll go over real quick. The next one is June 8th. There is a mass fatality exercise. It's a Lambert's National Airport's their requirement that they do their exercise. So they actually reached out to the state of Missouri for assistance, and the state of Missouri reached back to the locals to kind of get some local buy-in and support and participation. So there are several members of the STARS Mass Fatality Subcommittee that are working on that exercise as well, and on that exercise team. So that, like I said, it's going to be a Saturday. It's June 8th. And then that next week, June 11th through 13th, we have a hunter-seeker exercise. So I think several of you have participated in those in the past. This is the 5th iteration. It's a 3-day exercise. The way that it's set up is you can sign up for multiple days. You can sign up for 1 day. There are several flyers that have been shared around. Happy to continue sharing those. But it's set up to where there are some virtual components, there are some in-person components, and you can kind of sign up for what your interest is, and kind of what you're able to attend. It is very much focused on some public health scenarios or some healthcare scenarios. So we are encouraging those members to be involved. There's kind of a public safety component, but then there's also a hospital healthcare component of that exercise as well. So I'm happy to share more information on that. Then we're moving up about a week later, we have our MRSE. So our medical response surge exercise is going to be June 27th, working on some plans for that now with several of our healthcare coalition members. We're working on building that exercise into the dense urban terrain exercise, which is that last one at our long stretch of exercises, which will be July 14th through 18th. The actual exercise play will be the 15th through 17th with a day for setup and a day for teardown. But that dense urban terrain exercise is going to be kind of the lead up for several other exercises that are going on. And it's also kind of our big one for the year. We'll have multiple sites going. One of them will be Busch Stadium. We'll have some USAR chemical decon elements going on there. We'll also be at BNSF. We'll have one of their, what do you call it? Their training trailers will be on as well. So we'll be doing that. And then we're also doing a bridge, a floating bridge, a water crossing as well. So we've got at least those 3 components going. I know there's a lot of other regional partners that are wanting to do some of their own exercises alongside that. For example, a lot of EOCs that are going to stand up and kind of play along as well and participate and have their injects as well in that kind of setup so that they're participating. So those are just a few exercises we have going on. We're also working on a few trainings that I'll be sure to share as soon as I can. But we're trying to look at bringing a couple of more trainings in, and again, wanting to work closely with Hope Coalition to make sure that we're not overlapping some of those, but we're starting to have those conversations around our integrated preparedness plan and doing those kinds of things to really get an idea of what kind of trainings we need and what kind of trainings we want to prioritize so that we can work on building that out as well. So I know that was a lot, but I'm happy to answer any and all questions on any and all of those things.
Don't be shy, folks. If you have questions, dive in. For those that aren't familiar, the dense urban terrain, you'll also hear us call it the DUT exercise. That's actually a National Guard exercise taking place in St. Louis with Task Force 46, which is big National Guard components. They will be doing a variety of different activities. There's not a whole lot that is specific to involvement on our side of the river. It is primarily oriented towards the big city. However, we will be doing some patient movement between there and Illinois, but it'll be very, very limited in scope. And as we get that more finalized, I'll follow back up with everyone as far as what's going to happen there. So if there's no questions for STARS, then we'll push on to the St. Louis Regional Healthcare Coalition. And if there's anything specific to the HCC that you guys would like to speak to.
One thing I'll say just real quick, specific to HCC, I introduced Rachel briefly in our roll call, but Rachel is filling that readiness and response coordinator role. So we're really excited to have her jumping into that position. We've talked several things already. It's only her third day, and she's had to hear me talk about work plans and plans that need to be updated. And here's another plan. So I've got a lot of updates that she will definitely have moving forward over the next few months. So welcome her. I'm really excited to have her fill that role, and I think that we'll be able to introduce her to everybody pretty soon as well at different meetings and whatnot. I'm sure you'll see her. So that's the only big news that I personally have on the STAR side for the Healthcare Coalition.
All right, excellent. Jason, do you have anything that would be pertinent?
Just an update. We have our cash assessment work group meeting tomorrow, in addition to some of the exercise planning meetings that Sam mentioned.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll actually be there for the cash assessment meeting.
Awesome.
And Mike Gilbert, are you on the call? Okay. Yeah, since Mike's not on, I'll take care of this one. Reamer is, we're relatively busy. We are putting together plans for the summer for the various community activities that we support. We did have a plan for the eclipse. Unfortunately, due to staffing challenges, our original plan has kind of fallen apart. Beth, I know Mike said he was reaching out to you regarding that. We had originally been planning to deploy the REMERT team as a training deployment down into the area around Sparta, Illinois, to support in the event that anything were to cook off and limit resources in that area throughout Southern Illinois, really. But again, staffing challenges as they were, that's not going to be possible. We will still be monitoring and maintaining a constant state of readiness to send resources if need be. They just won't be pre-staged. The other events coming up for us, we've got NASCAR, we've got the Illinois State Police Youth Academy that we support, as well as some other community events, concerts and things throughout the summer months and into the fall. As I understand it, in NASCAR this year, we will be actually putting a full team out there for 2 days. If there's any hospitals that are interested, I know Gateway has historically been a really great resource for us. They've provided some nursing staff that would actually come out and help staff the little field hospital that we set up. Sometimes it's really, really busy. Sometimes it's just a nice, enjoyable day sitting in an air-conditioned tent. Again, if there's any interest in that, please let myself or Gilbert know, and we'll be happy to, kind of work with that. The catch to it is your HSO does need to cover your workers' comp liability kind of insurance. We don't have that ability through REMERT. We will have medical on site in regard to a physician. There will be a doc there both days, so they have full medical control. But that's pretty much the lift for NASCAR. Indy, we do 1 day. It's the same kind of concept, but it gives people an opportunity to do things in non-standard environment, shall we say. That's pretty much it for REMERT at this point. If anything else comes up, we'll definitely let everyone know. For the upcoming events, we have coalition meeting May 1st, the eclipse being, next Monday, the 8th. We do have several decon courses. I will get it out. Several decon courses over the next year, quite literally, from now until November, I believe. I've got 3 listed here. These are the 3 most recent upcoming courses. We have one at Belleville. That class is actually full as of this morning. We have a class at Anderson that still has seats available, and we have a class at Staunton that both have seats available. The fiscal year will end June 30, and then when we talk about the MRSC, our MRSC right now is scheduled for July 10th. We'll actually talk about that more here momentarily. We have a slide for it. Then your 26 project submissions opens July 1 through November 15th. So anyone who is going to be submitting a project to the grant, please get it in within that window. It's really difficult for us to get everything approved and pushed through if we do after November. It just becomes a challenge. But that will open up July 1, and it'll be the same process that we have used in previous years. For the Eclipse, I know Beth alluded to this earlier. They have asked that we increase our cadence for EM Resource. The dates for that would be the 7th, 8th, and, or wait, yeah, the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yes,
Beth?
7th, 8th, and 9th.
And it's at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. The rest of that weekend, please be diligent in maintaining monitor of the EMS R4 talk group on your Starcom radio, as well as having EM Resource open in your facilities. In the event something were to happen, those will be the 2 primary means that you will get notifications. You may get a bed query in the form of an exercise during that. I can't say if it will or won't. That'll be dependent upon how things go during that event. But, you know, we may do that. We may put out an MCI blast and say, how many could you handle if something happened now? And we do have concerns given the sheer number of people that are coming into a already resource limited environment. So, you know, there may be real worlds that do come out of this. The traffic challenges are going to be problematic. They were pretty nasty from what I understand for some of the folks from the last eclipse. And then, of course, there's just the general bad luck that comes along with putting a large group of people together. So please do be monitoring that, maintain your vigilant watch, as it were. The MRSC planning. Phil wanted me to talk a bit about this again. I know we have discussed this previously, but what we're looking at topics wise, we have earthquake, infectious disease, chemical incident, or other. This is where we're looking for input from our coalition partners here. You guys tell us what you would prefer to do the primary focus of this incident on. The community partnership, as far as the dense urban terrain exercise, we can do something that corresponds to that, especially since ours is immediately prior to the actual dense urban terrain exercise. We have the option for chemical exposure or earthquake response that would kind of fall within line of what the DUT is doing. But please, if you have any input, I will send an email out through Member Planet with a survey. If you would just go ahead and fill that in and respond back so we can kind of really punch through this and get this ready to go. There will be some planning that needs to take place, but this will get our MRSC for the grant completed, and also at the same time as checking a box, it'll help us to be better prepared. Jason, I see your hand up.
Yeah, just wanted to call out the St. Louis Healthcare Coalition is connecting its 2024 MRSC with the DUT exercise. So if that's a strategy that our Illinois Hope Partners pursue, we're happy to kind of synchronize like our inject, some of the scenario details. We're doing the immediate onset aftermath up to 96 hours following the earthquake, and then DUT will pick up at that 96 hours for some of that urban search and rescue work that Sam outlined earlier.
Yeah, excellent. I know in the conversations I've had with the St. Louis side, we have discussed the idea of building a exercise within an exercise within an exercise, kind of like Russian nesting dolls, but specific to hospital-based decon capability. If there's a decon incident that's being conducted at downtown St. Louis at the ballpark, you can rest assured that there will be patients that will leave the facility and show up at your facility who did not go through decon. And part of the the discussion that we've had is, doing an exercise on how quickly, not necessarily actually doing decon, but how quickly can we recall, set up, establish a capability, and begin to process patients. It's something we don't do a lot of. It's easier for some facilities than others because pulling a tent, setting a tent up, how long does it really take you from, when you get notification to when you're able to really start running people? This would be an opportunity to stress that capability, figure out how we can improve it, things of that nature. If there's interest in that, again, that'll be included in that survey that's going to come out. I'm happy to take any questions that you have regarding the MRC. All right, so open floor. Anyone have anything specific to the coalition they want to bring up before we dive into the call it educational topic for the day?
Hey, Phil, this is Sam.
Well, I got promoted to Phil. Hi, Sam.
Oh, Lee, sorry. I was looking at my screen. I was looking at an email from Phil, sorry. I wanted to know if it would be possible, the county is doing an update to our multi-hazard mitigation plan, and a portion of that plan is to get public feedback on weather hazards within the county. Would it be possible if I sent you the link for the survey that you'd be able to send it out to the coalition members?
Yeah, I actually have it. You sent it to me this morning. So
Oh, that's
I will.
right. Okay. We're sending it to so many different groups. I forget you were in the LEPC section of that email.
Yep. So I will get that distributed out. Now, do you want that to go region wide, or do you want me to try to target? How do you want to do that?
I'm trying to think what would be the easiest, because really it's just for St. Clair. But I mean, I don't want to put too much work on you if you have, for piecing it out to only hit St. Clair County.
Well, what I can do is send.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I just send an email and to say, hey, if you work or reside within St. Clair County, complete this survey.
That would be perfect.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can get on that for you this week.
Is there any way we can
Perfect.
just place that link in the chat right now too? At all?
Yes, I will do that right now.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
That's a good catch, Brad, because that'll actually allow me to incorporate that into our minutes. All right. If nobody has anything else for the open floor.
Hey, Lee, I had one quick question.
Sure, Aaron.
On the MERS for July.
Correct.
I know we're still in the initial stages of setting it up, but will it be a tabletop type like it was last year, or are we looking to do something different?
So that's a really good question, and that's a complicated question in this particular instance. The main exercise would be in a tabletop format. However, if we do go forward with this rapid decon capability assessment, that would actually be your facilities actually pulling your equipment out, setting it up, going through from notification to turning the water on. How long does it take you? How quickly can you recall resources, establish the capability, and be ready to start really running patients? And we've always talked about how many we can push through in an hour, but we never said where that hour starts. Does it start from notification, or does it start once the stuff is set up? So this gives us an opportunity to kind of stress that. It's a pain point from my perspective, looking at that as an outside hazmat person. When we have an incident somewhere and we send them to the hospital, how quickly are they going to be able to get that, that technical decon that needs to be done? So the main brunt of the exercise will again be discussion based and will be tabletop with all the things we've done previously, but we are looking at potentially adding this component, and that's where we want the input from the facilities if this is something that you think that you can you can support and that you can do.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Lee, this is Eric. I would just like to openly invite anybody who's remotely interested in the decon class at Anderson or Staunton. I'd prefer not to have those canceled. So if you're thinking about it or know somebody who is, we'd be more than happy to have you. Thanks.
Perfect. Eric Perham, are you on the call? Okay, I know he had some stuff going this week, but I do believe he is planning to send some folks to that class. I just haven't seen the registration roll through yet, so I will try to follow up with him later today.
I appreciate it.
No problem. So moving on to the D4H system. This is, for those that are unfamiliar, this is our common operating picture that we use within the coalition. This system allows us to stay in touch. In the event of, well, COVID, we used this for a lot of resource requests. Actually, we just discussed that. Brad and I were just talking about this yesterday. The resource request system is great because it allows us to track what we're putting out, where it's going, who's getting it, all that kind of fun stuff. This works completely web-based. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from a tablet. You can do it from your computer. Doesn't matter where you're at, anywhere in the world, as long as you have internet, you can get there. The phone tools, the apps that you see there, there is a Google and an Apple both. So whichever device you're using, it's available for you. The system itself, when you first log in, this is what you're going to see. It may look different depending on what these are referred to as plays or channels, depending on what channel is open and what play it's running. This is what you'll see. 9 times out of 10, you will only see the regional response. When you go into it, this will be kind of what your dashboard will look like. Yours may vary slightly because you probably won't have quite as much stuff open on it. But this is this basic premise of the site. Inside of this, the big thing, the number one spot that you'll see the most information coming from is the logs section. For anyone who's familiar with an ICS 214, this kind of functions as an ICS 214. But this also allows us to go in and update information. So we can drop in notes about what's happening at any given place or anything that's occurring. It does function for anyone who's familiar with the various chat applications out on the web. If you need to send a message specifically to someone and you do an ampersand or whatever that's called, the @ symbol, and you type the name of the individual, when I type it in and I send it, they'll get an alert to let them know that you messaged them. So it kind of functions like a messaging platform, except for that message is public. It's stored for everyone to be seen, but it allows you to make sure people know what's going on. If you need to send something to everybody and you want all people to get an alert, you just put @ symbol all. And that will then, everyone who is on this channel will receive that message. Inside of this, we have the resource requests. This again has been something that we have used on numerous occasions. When we go into it, you have anybody who's requested supplies, and I'm going to use Brad's request because it's the most recent one and it's also complete. So inside of it, let me actually go back to this. If you're a hospital, you're going to click on hospitals. If you're a public health department and you're requesting equipment, you're going to go into whichever of these organizations pertains to you. And you'll hit add, and that gives you this form. This is basically an ICS 213 RR. This is a resource request basically built off of the same form. It works very simply. And the task, just put in what it is you're asking for. You know, if you're looking for equipment or you're looking for PPE, this is just a general high level what you're after. When you come down to the order section here, you click add row. You put in what you're looking for. If you're looking for a case of face shields, well, I can't type today. You put in what you want. And, you know, this is what's going to show when we print this, when we take it to the warehouse to use it as a pick ticket. If there is something that we are delivering to you, whether it is being brought via truck or being shipped or whatever the case may be, we'll ask that you put in that information here. If there is a substitution, if you're saying, hey, I would prefer that you gave me 3Ms, but if you don't have 3M and you've got halyard, you know, we can do halyard because it'll work with whatever you're doing. You know, you can put that information into the substitutes or suggested sources. We ask that you, when you fill in your agency, your organization, whatever organization you're representing, please put the full name in there so that we have it. Prioritize this. Is this urgent? Do you need it right now? Or is it routine? We get to you within a few days? Or is it low? Hey, we'll get it when we get it. I just need you to make sure you hold it for me. The date and time, when you click it, it will automatically populate with that current date and time. For the requested name and position, this is your name and whatever your job title is. And then the contact information is a valid contact number for you. If you're not going to be in the office, if I need to call you and try to figure out what something is, throw your cell phone number in there. Some way that we can get you that is quick, because we have very limited resources technology-wise at the warehouse to be able to track things down easily as far as trying to look up other information. Throw your email in there as well, because we can email from phones. And then if there are any special instructions that you need to give us, you can do that there. The remainder of this will be completed by someone within the RHCC who is pulling the stuff from wherever it's coming from, or who's ordering it from wherever. For anyone that dealt with us during COVID on resource requests, this is the exact same form and process that we have used all along. So it should be pretty much old hat for everyone here. We do have the ability in here to put ambulance services. This is something that we could use on any event. If there's a large need, we can list out all of the services that exist. We've not used this in its full entirety ever, but it is something that we built specifically to have should it be needed. You put the name of the service, you can update what trucks are available or trucks in service or whatever the case may be. If for whatever reason, like Monroe County, got pummeled by this storm and, the barn that was holding all the trucks got took out, hey, we're not operational. And we as an RHCC can see that so that we can start reaching out to other people and trying to help deconflict and balance and all that kind of fun stuff. At the same time, when we talk about region stat reps, so if we're talking about what just occurred over this last week, right, the storm on Monday, you could come into the stat rep and for example, Georgia, this would be a spot where you could actually come in and let us know that, hey, we're having this issue, whatever that issue would be. You'll start by putting the name of your organization at the top. If you have a need, you need resources, supplies, equipment, people, whatever it is, again, specify a yes, and that will actually flag on our displays for those in the office, and it'll actually flag up as red as a critical issue. Again, anytime you see date and time, when you click it, it should auto-populate. You can put your remarks as to what it is that you have going on, anything you need. This field will expand as needed to accommodate the amount of text you enter. We ask that you put primary and secondary phones. Red phones, for those that aren't familiar, typically in a hospital setting, you'll have phones that are POTS lines, plain old telephones. They don't run through switchboards or PBXs. They're just good old fashioned equivalent to home phones. If you have that and that's the number you need, then by all means, please put that in there. If there's a fax number that you prefer, we fax things to you. That information is kind of useful for us. But what we want to know is what your operational status is. No issues. We got minor issues, but it's not impeding our ability to function, or we have major issues and we have problems. Did you have injuries or fatalities sustained? IT and telecom, is it up or down? Utility issues. Yeah, we're having an issue. If you are, again, this is where you can notate that in the remarks that hey, we're down, using Georgia's case where they lost a power transformer. That's where you could just tell us that, yes, we're currently operating on generator due to the loss of that. And then in utility issues, when you check yes, again, it allows us, as we go through this after the fact and we look at how the region was affected by storms, what things were damaged, we can use this for future HVA development as well as additional planning and such. If you do check that you have injuries, what we want to know is how many individuals, whether they were staff members that had minor, moderate, major, if you had fatalities, how many, if you had folks that simply just needed mental health because of dealing with the disaster, we want to know that as well, because again, it allows us to, like what Sam was saying, and actually what both Sams were saying about relation to IPPW and developing plans and workshops and making sure that we're putting resources where they need to go. This type of thing allows us to better do that. At the same time, we would ask that you update your what your general census is, how many patients you have that require assistance, how many that are maybe, they're ambulatory, but they still have to have help, and how many are non-ambulatory, and you're really going to need an ambulance in order to get them out if you have to evacuate. The same thing for staff census, what you have and how many you could get within 2 hours if you recalled your staff because of an incident. Because again, if you're reaching out to the coalition and saying, I need help, well, what do you need? What do you have? What can you get in organically within your organization? And then that helps us to make sure we send you the right things. More utility related topics, just telling, if something's broken, what's broken, because, we may be able to help supply some resource to help support that. Equipment needs, this is much like your resource request. When you click on that row, you just type in what's needed and, what's required. And we'll get that in the office here, and we can try to accommodate those requests as best we can. Any additional information you may want to operate for the next 8 hours, anything that you're going to need or things of that nature. If you have a specific department that is, going to be tremendously problematic, you can actually indicate that here. If there's delayed needs, hey, right now we're good, but in 12 hours, we know if this isn't repaired, we're looking at a staged evacuation. That would be things we would want to know so that we can ensure resources are available to help support that. So that's kind of the highlight, the general information from that perspective. There is a checklists function. Right now, the only thing we have built out is KIMPAC. If you go into checklists, it basically walks through everything that you would need to know at each level, whether it is the hospital, the EMS, for the RHCCs, even all the way up into, the start, finish, everything. It'll walk us through what we need to do. At this point in time, I don't expect anyone to use this. We're still building and tweaking this to make this the way we want it to work. But it does have all of the steps. It's just a matter of you got to go in here and do it. That is kind of the gist. The forms section does have pre-built ICS forms. All of the standard ICS forms are outlined and built in here. When you go in and take a look at them, they'll all have the standard information that you would look for. You can fill this in and it's saved on the system, and it's just, again, a resource that's available for you. So that is D4H, the quick down and dirty. If for some reason you do not have access and you need to have access, please send an email to myself, Phil Pugh, or Sean Eisenhower, and we will ensure that you get added to the system. The catch to that is when we add you to the system, you will get an email from the system that you have a link. You have to complete the steps in that email to actually make your account work, because they'll set your password and do all of that fun stuff for you. They'll work with you to get that completed. So, questions about D4H? All right. I will say, if you have an incident at your hospital and you needed a D4H channel, we could potentially open a channel and add contact users for your HSO, and basically you would have a place to be able to do something for a short period, days, weeks, response kind of thing. I do want to ask this question because we have talked about this in the past. Looking at what you've seen with D4H, do you think this is something that you could internalize within your facility and use as a component of your daily operation? Why I ask this is we have actually talked to the vendor about getting this for all of our hospitals. So where you would be able to have your own instance with your own users and be able to do this not just from a regional perspective, but daily operations. I'll tell you, we do have that capability, and we do use it here within Memorial, both Belleville and Shiloh. It is something that we are interested in seeing the interest on. So if you have interest, please let us know. If there's something different you think needs to be built into this, it's very easy to do that. And, we're happy to try to accommodate.
Lee, this is Eric. Do you find it most helpful because of the two different locations of your facility?
Not so much. And I'll give you kind of an example. So we actually have our administrator on call dashboard. So this is what we give to all of our hospital administration, all of our leaders. And as you can see here where it says checklists, we have checklists built for all of these different things. And if they go to their AOC checklist and let's say we've got some kind of a bomb threat going on, they can do this from their phone. It walks them through, what do I need to do? What are my steps? Same thing for any of these other incidents, anything you see with a number. Some we're still building out based on internal, refining internal policies and procedures. As we refine those, they'll be incorporated into this. And whoever the AOC is, it gives them one source of truth that they can go to no matter where they're at, and makes life a little bit easier. Now, again, this is during COVID, we used this continuously. I'll be honest, Monday night, I was updating information as it became available, and making it available to the AOCs so they knew it. We had a dedicated channel specifically to our COVID and COVID-19 response. It's still open because we still have some things that are coming in and out of that. But
So Lee, I'm
yes.
going to fall on the sword here. Can you, I was paying somewhat attention until you started opening that and running through it. And now you've really captured my attention. What is it that you can do with other facilities, or what is there that is being offered?
So what we're looking for is to get interest. If there is sufficient interest in order to make this worth the spend, we're prepared on the grant as the RHCC to basically get this system for the independent facilities within the coalition. So all of the hospitals to have access to their own instance of the D4H system. Now, this would be, if you think parent-child relationship, this would be underneath of the actual coalition account, but it would be a separate instance underneath of the coalition account. So we're only effectively paying one bill, but it would be a resource that's open to everyone, if that makes sense.
And let's work together on a training or a planning of you running through this, where we can invite some other people within our facilities to look and see a lot of what you just showed us. What this AOC dashboard is huge. And if we can plan something on the side, there's interest. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to discuss this. For those that are familiar with like WebEOC or VOSHI, this is a similar tool, but this is a similar tool that doesn't require a PhD to operate. I can teach how to build things on the backside of this very easily. It's also significantly less expensive than some of the competition. We've been with them. I've been affiliated with this company for many moons before they were this company. I knew the owner way back in the day and helped him on another project. When they brought this out, we looked at it, and initially we started out, we were the first hospital anywhere in the world to use their tool. Now there are numerous hospitals, health departments, as well as entire states that are moving to this system. So it is really robust. And if there is an interest, I am fairly certain I can actually just have someone from D4H give their spiel and have them go through the full capabilities, because there's things we do not use that may be beneficial to others. Happy to do that. Like I said, I'm willing to work with anybody on that. So Brad, I'll follow up with you offline.
Lee, yeah, Anderson and Community Hospital Staunton are interested as well. I'm just gonna show this meeting content to some people, and I think that's enough to get their interest. So.
Sure. So what I will
Yeah,
tell you is,
let's keep if you can, Lee, at least keep track of all the hospitals that are showing interest, because Jerseyville said the same thing and Redbud is now saying the same thing. Maybe we can coordinate some of these showings and trainings and so forth. But yeah, I feel you have a lot of interest. You open a can of worms here. So,
well, this is a can of worms that I've been, waiting to open. So I'm happy to see that the fish are biting. I just want to show this just as an example. When we talked about building things out and I said, hey, these are all channels. So each channel, when you open a channel, you can choose what's called a play. Think of it like a football playbook. So these are plays that we have built out and they're readily available within the system. But this is just, each one of these has its own specific twist. So the functions that are opened automatically, the individuals that are automatically notified when this opens, they're all different based on what it is. So, I mean, we use this for everything, including for Remert. We'll have this open during the events like NASCAR, things of that nature. We actually keep one open perpetually. That's for just the Remert team. That's where we can go in and update and keep track of what we're doing in that regard. So moving on from that over to EM Resource. So this is something everybody's relatively familiar with. There have been some challenges. A couple of hospitals I have heard from me over the last week and a half or so saying, hey, this is showing as being out of date. And some of it we found out this morning. I haven't had a chance to dive further into it. There may be some issue going on with updating some of the things. There was some recent changes that no information was put out about. So I'm working with Jesse Nuss up at IDPH to address some of that. But if you come into daily hospital resource availability tracking, this is what we're supposed to be updating every day by 10 a.m. We have, as a coalition, previously agreed that we would update this around 8 a.m. The reason being 10 a.m. typically is when a lot of the hospitals are doing, whether it's internal bed meetings or it's just a busy part of the day. It just made things easier to do it a little earlier around shift change or whatever the case would be. For the point of this coming eclipse, they want it by 10 and by 5. As long as you get it updated by 10 each day, that's what they're ultimately asking for on a normal day. To update, just simply go next to your hospital and you should see this little keyring thing that says update status. When we click on the update status, you'll see all these checkboxes. Just simply click on select all. When you do so, it'll take you to the screen that you see now, and you can simply go in and update this is what your availability is at this point in time. So you're basically going in and putting in whatever information it's asking you for. And then once you have submitted all the information, down at the bottom, you will just hit save. You don't really need to do the all statuses. And the reason is there's some information in that does not get routinely updated. Unless you're doing major changes to your campus and you're actually changing what your licensed beds are, you're getting rid of beds or adding licensed beds, then there's some things you just don't need to change because they're going to be static. As you saw, there was an option under each one where you can comment as needed. So if you do have something going on and you need to update, you can. I will, not to throw anybody under a bus, but when we look over here for Holy Family and for Breeze, for St. Joseph Breeze, you'll see it's in red. That's basically saying that they have not updated by the scheduled time. If you see red is typically not good. That means that you need to go in and make some updates. So Brad, if you don't mind, if you can reach out to those facilities, whoever would be responsible for that. And Stacy, I think you were on here. If we can get those updated, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm on here. I'll update it. Thank you.
Perfect. And the state does send out like a report card, if you will, for the region on how good we're doing. We have historically been doing very well since COVID. Prior to that, we had some challenges, but overall, we've all been hitting the numbers the way they were asking. So we just want to maintain that. Always look good. So
Lee, before you go away from EM Resource,
Huh?
I want to jump in with something. So
sure enough, go right ahead.
so does that mean now?
Yep, go for it.
All right. So I'm going to fall on the sword a little bit with HSHS. We had an event that was during the weekend, off hours and so forth, where a particular house supervisor felt that she was doing the right thing. And so this is purely a lack of education within EM Resource. And so we are creating some training that I'd be more than happy to share, some PowerPoint training. Most of that has to do with peak census. If you can jump and maybe even just go ahead and open St. Elizabeth's Hospital right now to show the status of that particular hospital. We did have a facility. No, yeah, the actual statuses. That's why I was going to wait until you were done and talk about the hospital status. There it is. As you can see, peak census. Go ahead and hit our peak census if you can and show the options that are chosen.
Yep.
So what particularly happened is that St. Elizabeth's has been in peak census off and on for several months. And we are right now in what I would consider a severe peak census. We're busting at the seams. We had one of our facilities push bypass. And that was due to a CT machine being down. And what they did is they hit the bypass and typed in the comment CT machine down. And it was at 2 o'clock in the morning and then updated again at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so it went a while before we caught it. And so in education here is that bypass sets off every alarm in IDPH. It sets it all the way off to the director. They get notifications and so forth. In hospitals, you're either on bypass or you're not. You can't have departments that are on bypass. You're basically either closing your doors. And this is for catastrophic events. So we did communicate with IDPH the error that was made and the reason why, but we also had to commit to an educational process. So I am building a PowerPoint, sending it to IDPH, having them put their blessing on it about the meanings and how each one of these should be used. The only reason I'm bringing it up now is it'll be a simple PowerPoint, but it's also going to reflect the updates of bed status and so forth as being part of that responsibility. I'm more than happy to share that PowerPoint with anybody if they want to also use it to review. Our turnover with house supervisors and so forth is pretty heavy, and there's just a lot of assumptions that are made when you're told, please update EM Resource, and you just throw them to the wolves. We have to teach people how to use this product, and this product is very, very, it is highly monitored.
No, completely agree. And to your point, for those that remember, well, I don't think it was this Christmas. It was the last Christmas when we had the absolute horrible, bitter cold. We actually had major pipe rupture over at our Shiloh campus, and we did go on bypass. But in order to do so, we had to contact the state. We went up through Greg Atterbury all the way up the chain to let them know, hey, this is what's going on, because our pharmacy was down, our elevator was down, we had water everywhere. I was in Indiana on my holiday vacation when I found out about it. This was a big deal. The catch to that is we still had to tell them, hey, this is how long it's going to take us to get back up. And you had hours, not days. You mitigate and get back in play. I think we were on bypass for 5 hours or so. So that type of thing can occur, but it does have to be approved before you hit the magic button. Or as Brad said, you definitely will hear from somebody that will not be happy. The whole concept, it works. It does. I get notices every time somebody changes a status 24/7. Someone in our office is always watching that. Go ahead, Aaron.
can't get off mic. I would just add that about 2.5 years ago, we had a similar instance where we were put on bypass and the whole issue with IDPH and everything. So we went through our policy and we made a distinction between a diversion versus a bypass. And the case in point was like if our CT scanners are down, that would be a diversion just for that functionality. So
yeah, so the one thing I will say is we have to be extremely cautious about the word diversion. Diversion is worse than a bypass. What I would suggest is, and this is an opportunity to do this, is, you know, when you go into your peak census, you click on whatever status you have in play for your ED. Even if it is, we're just open status, but our CT's down, you're still open, but check open, put the comment, send it. We want to be real careful about the usage of the words, even just notionally, when we talk about diversion or bypass, because it will ultimately come back to bite us. We've experienced that internally.
Yeah, and in talking with IDPH in our last event that we had, that is almost always. Every once in a while, you'll have the situation that Lee just talked about where it is true bypass, but almost every event that they have to follow up on was just a mistake in clarification that somebody would put in their bypass and then put in the comment CT. CT is down or some kind of something else is down. And technically you are open, but the CT is down. And he said, you know, in the discussion, that was the most common bypass error that is found.
Yeah. I mean, and the system can be a little clunky at times. So again, that's something to just kind of be aware of. And yeah, Brad, when you have your training ready, definitely do send it out. We'll be happy to distribute it, and everyone, you know, you can choose to use it or, you know, whatever the case may be. We're happy to share that. So as far as the general basics of EM resource, does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, so Brad, what I will ask, are you incorporating red, yellow, green, the MCI query when it goes out, or is that part of your education?
Yes, it is.
Excellent, because what I can't easily show you at the moment, because I don't have an event built to do so, is when there's an MCI query come across, this will actually, if you have speakers hooked up and you have this screen open on a computer in your ED, which we encourage everyone to do, you will hear a loud kind of thing followed by an alert, and it'll tell you what's going on. But when you click on it, it will take you to a display that will ask you how many red, yellow, and green patients you can receive to your facility. This actually has been uber critical for us during both training and real world. During the Amazon collapse, that was something that was sent out and was a legit real deal, please update. During the dust storm in May, we sent that out. We've done this for a variety of real world incidents.
Bus accident.
Yep, the bus accident. I mean, there's been a bunch, and unfortunately, due to the nature of humanity, there will be more. But you will also see these in training, and we ask that you update that immediately as soon as it comes across, because if we're sending it, there's a reason. And for some of the training windows, we will start holding people more accountable and actually trying to follow up on what happened, because we have had instances during drills where facilities have responded 5 and 6 hours after the notice was sent, or in some instances, not at all. And that's a concern. Typically during one of those, it's within 30 minutes is the idea, is you're able to update that. We'll close the exercise at 30 minutes, so you won't be able to update it. The goal is the quicker we can get it, the quicker we can start the load balance from the scene. This is important for like NOAC. Every time they have an incident, John calls me, can you put out an EM resource? And we do this I've done this from my phone several times. This is something that could happen 24/7 and does. So again, please always be very, very diligent with monitoring this and being prepared, especially coming into this big weekend when we know we're going to have a rapid and large influx of folks who maybe aren't familiar with our area or what resources are out there. But so that basically is what I had for you for today. Oh, John, go ahead. I see your hand up. I see you, John.
Yeah, there we go. I think I'm unmuted now, finally. Yeah. Another bit, I'm glad I heard you bring that up about the computer on, software running, and possibly speakers, because that alert that comes through, I have that set up that way on my phone. It's an awful sound, but it gets your attention. Is if you are actually monitoring or you have this running in the background in your ED, and I happen to be playing with, or not just playing, using EM Track, it should come through and tell you with that same weird warning that something's going on, that I'm truly, and it should be, if I just happen to pick St. E's, it should be only St. E's that gets that through their EM resource. They might not have EM Track up and running, but it should still come through your EM resource that I've just sent you a patient. Again, we had this, 2 weeks ago, was it, Lee? I had you do the one for Scott Air Force Base. They were having some big major exercises for a week long. And of course, everybody does active shooter now. So we had a pretty good size active shooter exercise. And I literally wanted to be able to show the leadership out at Scott that, we can track every individual that would leave that base. So I was actually truly sending people to hospitals. I don't know if you got any, Lee, but I know I didn't get any response going, hey, is this real or is this an exercise? So again, keeping that EM resource up. And if you do have speakers on it, it does give you that advanced warning that something's going on. That's all I have, sir.
Nope, absolutely. I see your hand up.
Yeah, so I need just a clarification for the EM resource updates for the Eclipse, that twice a day, like you said, 10 and 2. Is that for the day of or the days around, like Sunday and Tuesday as well?
So it's the 7th, 8th, and the 9th, because those are the big days that we anticipate that influx.
Okay. Thanks.
And then I had something else I was going to say. During big events, again, when we talk about the REMERT team and NASCAR, we use the EM Track side of this, the patient tracking component from Javari. We use it religiously. Everyone who comes through our treatment area is entered into EM Track. And in the event that we send them to an area hospital, we will select that as the destination in the system and ensure that, we keep a full record of it. During the Scott Air Force Base Air Show, it was, John, correct me if I'm wrong, 290, something like that, over the air show that came through the clinic. And we tracked every one of them, whether it was they got a Band-Aid and a bottle of water or they got a ride on an ambulance to an area hospital. It makes a difference when we can track that and show that our value, what we're actually doing for the community. So again, we just ask that you remain vigilant and monitor this, especially coming into this weekend. And in the event that you do have a problem, like I said, Phil is in Tahiti. Will not be back until the 15th. If you need support from the region, please feel free. For those of you that have my cell phone, call me. If not, you can always call the coalition hotline, as it were, and they will patch you directly through to myself or Mike Gilbert or Sean, whoever it is that is on call or available at the time. And that number is 618-767 RHCC. And if you look at any of our RHCC plans on the front cover of like the regional EOP, it does say to activate this plan and it gives you that number. That is answered by our operators here at the hospital, and they actually know exactly what to do. It's been used many times now. They will get you through to whoever is the appropriate responder. Any questions about anything that we have discussed thus far today? We're a little over time here. All right. Well, if not, then we look forward to seeing you guys again in May, and we will talk again then. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Try not to look directly at the sun.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lee.